Hello, hello, everybody. It is Wind Down Wednesday. We are so excited to be chatting with so many incredible ladies tonight. So very, very excited for that. So please get comfortable, get your blankets, grab your water bottle or beverage of choice, and we'll see you back here in about 30 seconds. Hello, everybody. So excited for this really exciting session of Wind Down Wednesday. So many good things to talk about. But before we hop into our exciting topic, I'd love if everyone on the call can do some quick introductions. So Silvia, can we start with you?
Absolutely. My name is Silvia Rogel. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships at the Center of Resources for Teaching and Learning, currently overseeing the project for computer science for every learner that comes through the Illinois Resource Center.
Awesome. So excited.
Hi, I'm Maggie Essig. I'm an education specialist at the IRC, and I'm a part of the Computer Science for Every Learner team. I've been doing some workshops on the intersection of computer science and English learners, and I'm part of the CSEL team in the research department.
Hi, I'm Abril Vela. I am a co-founder and principal consultant in computer science, CS for Success. We are an education consultancy focused specifically on computer science education, and we serve the K-14 pipeline, trying to focus on developing high quality, sustainable, and equitable computer science programs. And we are a project partner for Computer Science for Every Learner and a partner for the Illinois Resource Center. So we're excited to be a part of this initiative.
Yes, awesome. I'm so glad to have y'all here. So tonight's topic, we're really going to kind of dive into all things computer science for the next 30 minutes or so. So there's a lot of really big pieces of this, but if you had maybe just even 60 seconds to explain, what is computer science? We keep hearing that term thrown around, and I think people have a lot of ideas about what it is, or maybe it's just our best guess of what it is. So how would any of y'all describe it?
I'll start off. I'll just say computer science is really a way to approach problems from a very methodical way, right? So it's learning how to approach a problem in a methodical way, and looking at different aspects of a problem, breaking it down a lot smaller, to conquer in smaller pieces a bigger problem. In essence, that's probably one definition. I'm sure Abril and Maggie will maybe share others.
Yeah, I think Silvia definitely captured a very large part of computer science. It has science in the name for a reason, right? So it's the science behind computers. We like to talk about both the hardware and the software elements. So people definitely understand and associate coding with computer science and spending time at a computer programming, but that's not all there is to it. So it's not just the algorithmic thinking and processes that go into making a computer work, but it's also all of those elements and components of developing and designing computational products and machines, and making sure that together you understand how to create and use them effectively, efficiently, and can deliver and depict the impact that those machines have on the world. Oh, Maggie, you're muted.
Sorry, I was trying to keep the dogs out of the live stream. There they are. But I think a big part of computer science that I've been realizing more and more is the idea of computational thinking. And that's really how we interact with data in the world. It's about recognizing patterns, and it's about sifting through data and finding what's important. And I think for me, that's such an overlap with how we learn language too. We look for patterns. We search for data that's going to help inform us and make language more comprehensible. So for me, seeing that overlap in those two areas has been really exciting.
Yes. Oh, I love that each of you kind of brought forward like a different piece of this, because like, I think when we hear computer science, like I taught third grade for many, many years. And so my brain always just went to like, it's coding. It's coding. That's it. So I'm so glad that y'all touched on this, because it is kind of an expansive thing. Like it's a big umbrella of a lot of different components. So when we say computer science for every learner, we have the acronym going along the bottom, right? CSEL, right? Computer science for every learner. What is that all about?
I can speak to that, if I may. We really wanted to capture, in Illinois, there are more than 250,000 English learners. But when we speak about like very particular student populations, Latinos comprise the largest number of EL learners. However, not all Latinos are English learners, but they are completely under-resourced and they may not really get these opportunities. So we did play with that. And the initial, name to our project was Computer Science for English Learners. But we quickly realized that because Latinos and other like English learners who eventually become where English becomes their primary language at some point, but because they're under-resourced, we needed to really capture them as well. And so this shift became like, we definitely want to capture English learners. That is priority for us. But there are also other students who are highly under-resourced that we also need to kind of like, bring into this program as well.
I love that. Love that. Beatrice is joining us. So glad to see you. And she's saying, wow, like over the numbers that you're sharing with us. So I love that even like the acronym, the name of this, it is very inclusive, and it is trying to hit on, like you were saying, like underserved populations. So we really want to make sure that we're bringing everybody into this conversation. So tell us a little bit about the current work happening and like something that is really exciting for you to see as this work is kind of progressing.
Maggie, do you want to take that? Maggie's been super instrumental in like the way we envisioned this work rolling out. And she has that lens from a teacher, administrator, now professional developer. I'd like maybe Maggie to like chime in on this.
Yeah, so I mean, and someone will have to remind me, because there's so many things I feel like that the CSEL project is doing. I just finished an admin academy for administrators about creating equitable environments for English learners to learn computer science. And that was really great to get that out. We had about I would say about 50 administrators in the meeting, and it was great. What we are currently working on is a research project. It's a case study where we want to partner with school districts, bring computer science PD into these districts, and then study what kind of supports teachers need in order to integrate computer science into their instruction with EL students. And so that's really the project that we've been spending a lot of time on, and we're very excited about it, and very excited about I can't think of the word, like the potential that this has to really change how teachers and all students, including English learners, interact with computer science throughout Illinois.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you touched on the administrator academies that are happening, right? So all these leaders are getting this professional learning opportunities, right? And they're really kind of centering in on computer science for English learners, multilingual students. But this research project, this case study, this is so exciting. So it sounds like there's opportunities for folks, right, to kind of like participate in this. How do districts kind of get involved in this? Because I think that a lot of people, once they hear this, they're going to be like, wait a minute, what? How do I get us signed up for this? Because this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead,
Silvia.
please, Maggie. Yeah.
No, I was going to say is that, we want districts that have a good number of EL population. Their percentage of ELs is about 25% or higher. So that's the kind of school or district we're looking at. And we want to partner with districts to bring, it's going to be a 3-year relationship, but we want to bring like 3 years of PD to them at no cost to them. So this is really, an exciting opportunity for schools who want to get involved. I'll let Silvia tell the best way to contact us because she's in charge of all that.
Thank you. People can contact me at srogel@cntrmail.org. If you go to our website at the IRC, you'll find my email there too. It's probably the best way. But I'll just add that for school districts who are serving English learners, this was a legislative initiative. The legislators across the state really believed in our vision to bring computer science for teachers as an additional PD, especially teachers of English learners who we've heard often work in silos, right? And if you think about it, I guess even general ed teachers, all teachers are teachers of English learners, but this particular topic, this particular subject is so independent that even computer science teachers I've heard work in silos as well. And so it felt like there was some parallel there. And the integration, what we're finding out even from our pilot program last year, which we had really good numbers, and now we scaled a little bit this year. There's interest from teachers. It's really become challenging for an EL teacher to bring something else on, So we want to be mindful about their workload, and having partners like Abril and Boot Up, who is one of our other partners, and bringing that integration element, like it really has to be integrated. Yes, there is a small stipend to get teachers to get PD, but I think, and maybe Abril will follow up as well, unless there's true integration, it's going to take just a much longer time to get this subject embedded into the other content areas.
Yeah, so you definitely give me a great segue in terms of the importance for this and why we are choosing to launch this research study and why it's been designed the way that it has. 3 years may seem like a long time, but for us, it's very practical in terms of how we are hoping to see the most successful outcomes with the districts that we're working with. As you mentioned, we're working with Boot Up for our professional development provider. They have a proven track record of success for long-term sustained PD when done in over 3 years. That PD will be made available to districts at no cost, as Maggie mentioned, which takes a large amount of pressure off of the districts for needing to be able to provide those funds to the PD provider. And then my organization, CS for Success, will be providing those implementation professional developments, again, at no cost to the district, because the Illinois Resource Center has made the commitment to cover those fees as being a part of the research study. As Silvia mentioned, we really want to make sure that we're able to provide the necessary instructional support and professional development to lead to successful integration strategies for not only the teacher of English learners, but also the content area teachers in the instances where in K-5, those are not the same person. So not only are we asking the teacher of EL to be involved in the professional development where they will have access to all of the PD supports as well as a professional learning community for just EL and bilingual instructors, but also then the content teachers to go through the PD as well, so that they're receiving the same type of support and training and professional learning opportunities, so that they have the same level of knowledge and experience and can have similar conversations with each other. We're also asking that administrators, bilingual program directors, and other staff and stakeholders in the building go through the implementation professional development, so that they have a more top level view and understanding of what it requires from a buy-in and commitment perspective of planning for the integration over the 3 years, so that there's a commitment to using CS computational thinking strategies to reinforce language and skill development for your English learners when they're in that K-5 program. By using that 3-year planning process, we're hoping that we're seeing skills reinforced over time as teachers are continuing their personal skill development and understanding in computer science. So while it's a very complex, in a way, program, and there's a lot of different elements, we hope that by having all of these different folks involved in the process, that it becomes a multi-level conversation and we can have a very productive project across the district and districts across the state. To which end, we're looking for this project to be a way to develop a framework to then explore this and offer it to everyone across the state who was not able to take part in this type of research.
This is really exciting. And you touched on a lot of different things. And I remember being a teacher and feeling super like frustrated because I'm like, I want to bring this thing, or I want to, like, I want to bring this opportunity to the kids in front of me, to the kids I serve. But I felt like, number one, I was always trying to beg permission to like do things or to bring things forward. And then sometimes I would be like they, whoever was granting permission for whatever it was, like they would say, okay, yeah, Carly, you can do it, but you're going to have to do it on your own. And that's a lot. So I'm so glad, like just the amount of intentionality behind all of this, it is very mindful of teachers' current workloads, but also like the advocacy piece. I feel like a lot of EL teachers are kind of used to like fighting by themselves, unfortunately. Like they're advocating, they're pushing, they're ruffling all the feathers of everybody who needs their feathers ruffled, but they're doing it by themselves. So this was like designed to do it for everybody. So when it says computer science for every learner, I'm like, it's also for like every adult. Like it is a team effort by design.
I think we're also very excited by that about this project, and that by the end of this, what we're really hoping to be able to propose for the teachers who went through it and for everyone who is able to use this tool by the end of it is a micro credential for the EL teachers. Not that they will be able to earn it by the end, but we want to propose this framework for a micro credential because we recognize that these teachers deserve to be recognized for the continued learning that they went through. We believe that it's important that EL teachers also continue to go through this type of training and receive this type of recognition outside of this 3-year experience. And so we are, as you mentioned, trying to incorporate those different levels of recognition into the study and intentionality. Because we want to consider, what would encourage someone to participate, given that they have all of these other competing priorities, and how do we continue to extend this type of research beyond the life of the 3 years that we already have planned.
Amazing.
Can I follow up a little bit, Carly, with one point that I want to really stress is that under Illinois state law, computer science is going to be required at the high school level. We, to your point, are being very intentional to bring this case study into the elementary school, right? ISB hopes to see a sustained, consistent progression over time with computer science. I feel like, honestly, this project and with this phenomenal team, we're kind of like starting ahead of what the law states we need to. We're really trying to prep before we can get, and before that high school level when it might be a little bit too late to really understand these terms.
Yes. Oh, you hit on a lot of big things here. I think when we get our kids and they start having conversations at the secondary level, like we need to hook them earlier.
Yes.
Well, and what we see in the research is that there are a number of groups that are hugely underrepresented in computer science in high school and in the career workforce. And those are English learners, they're people of color, they're women. And for a lot of our English learners, they fall into several of those categories. So the being underrepresented and that kind of oppression is compounded and is only made even harder to. And so by, hooking kids early and giving them access to this, you're opening up a whole different world for them that they can explore. And there are tons of CS jobs open in Illinois right now, and not many people graduating with CS degrees to fill those jobs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in that sense, it's preparing really, our students to become change agents in a world that is so vastly changing. Like today's problems, tomorrow's problems are going to be solved by students who are learning these concepts now. And so in that sense, computer science isn't solely about computers, right? Mm-hmm. And to Abril's point, it's not solely about computers. It is about understanding how we use the methodologies that are used in computer science, computational thinking, really, to solve a lot of our world's problems. And diversity in thought is so important in this area.
That's huge. And when we talk about our spaces, right, as educators who serve multilingual learners, like as advocates, like this is like, we want our students to be prepared for the future. We want them to be leaders and making changes for the future. We want them to raise, issues and offer solutions. So all of these things are interconnected. And I have to tell you, I remember when I was teaching third grade, I would always ask my kids, and I read this in an article somewhere of like somebody did it. And I was like, well, I'm curious to see how it goes down. I asked my third graders to draw a picture of a scientist. And they always drew 100% of them would draw an old white man. Yeah. Always. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm sure if I was asked to do that as a kid, I would have done the same thing. But isn't that wild? Like that is our perception of what a scientist is, or like how they appear. I'm like, man. And then after a while, we talked about like, wow, like, why did we all say this? Like, this is so problematic. And we looked at all these like technology innovations, and we're like, none of these were invented by old white men, y'all. And they were like, wow, why don't we know these people's names? And then we started to talk like kind of deconstructing like our beliefs about, what a scientist is. And then they started to say, you know what? I'm a scientist. Why didn't I draw myself? I'm like, yeah. And then one little girl said to me, Mrs. Spina, you're a scientist too, because you teach us science, you do science with us. Scientists can have pink hair. And I was like, yeah, they can. So I loved it.
I think that is so true.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that image, right? And it's so important for people to see themselves. And I know we've mentioned this in other areas too, right? But it truly is like, if you don't see yourself in those professions as even in the teaching profession, right? We need teachers who look like their students. We need this so much in other professions as well. And even when you have, as a teacher, when you bring in even one person from a profession who looks like the majority of their students, that is so impactful. That is so impactful to a student. And that like really could plant a seed that was never even a thought in that student. Like, I could be this, right? But wow, Miss Spina brought this computer science teacher who looks like me, a woman wow, that's amazing. She inspired me to be that. We need that in our classrooms more, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we hear stories a lot about like flaws in technology, because for a long time technology was old white men, and like computer science was that, and so they made technology that worked for other old white men. And so we hear stories about like facial recognition not recognizing people of color because they only tested it and normed it on white faces. And so if our students aren't represented, if they're not representing and creating in that field, the technology created is not going to be for them. Like we need people, we need, like Silvia said, diversity in the field so that we can ensure that the technology and computers work for everyone and are really created by everyone.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's so many like layers to this, but it makes me so excited. But I have to tell you, because like I told y'all, like when I thought computer science, like I was like, it's coding. That's the answer. And so my definition, like from all of this work, like I am starting to learn a whole lot more about how expansive it is. But I think sometimes, like when I see, like if I have a friend and we're chatting about this and we talk, oh, computer science for every learner, she might say to me, or he might say to me, oh, like I'm not really into computer science, or like I'm not really a science person. Like my thing is more language arts or math or whatever. What would your response be to somebody who says like, oh no, that's not my thing, or like that might be someone else's thing? What would your response be to that?
For me, I mean, I think today computer science is kind of an everything. It's very hard to escape it. So that tends to be my response is like, is there a future in which you think you can do one of those professions where you can do it without a computer? And if so, can you please describe to me that future? Because I'm very interested in understanding that future, because I also, for us, what we do at CS for Success, we really focus on creating a future where students are not just users of technology, but creators of technology. Like we want you to have an influence on what the future looks like. We don't want the future to be influencing you, right? So that's a big thing for us. As Maggie said, it's like when you're not a voice in that room that's creating the technology, then the technology is going to look very different. So I think a lot of it's about asking, what does that look like to you? What does the future look like to you? What does the world look like to you today? And how do you think that's going to impact your life? And what does it mean for you to not understand how to use these technologies? And then I also think it's about breaking down, and showing tools where it's not very complex mathematics or sciences. And, I teach people how to use computer science every day, and I can't stay on coding for more than like 10 minutes a day. Like, I just don't like it. I never have. It's never been my thing. I've never liked coding for fun. Anyone who knows me will tell you that. And what's always fascinated me has been more about like the impacts of technology. And so that's always been what I've gravitated towards, of like, how can I learn how to design something cool, and what do I need to know about technology to do that? And so I've always been more intrigued by the creative side of coding, or the creative side of computer science, and the visual aspects of it. So I think it's really just how you talk about it, how you frame it, how you show someone. A lot of the conversation when it comes to people thinking that computer science isn't approachable, or that it's a very stereotypical thing, is that is what it is. It's you're trying to break away from a stereotype, and a lot of that stereotype is because of the media, and because of a picture that's been put together by the media and by society. So what is influencing you because of a story that you're being told by movies and by TV and by magazines and by social media and all of these things. And so that's a lot of the conversation we like to have of like, what are you seeing? What pictures are you seeing that are making you feel this way? Because you don't have to feel that way about something that's actually not that scary.
Yes, yes, yes. And I love this comment from Michelle. She said, and teachers who feel nervous can trust in the kids and be humble and learn alongside them, right? It's so powerful when we say to kids in front of us, like, I don't know, let's find out. Let's dig in. Let's explore this. We're not
Let's
like
find out together.
Yes.
Let's find
yes.
out together.
Yes. We are
Yeah.
not the all-knowing wizards. Our kids, like they've got such good skills. They're like, hey, I know exactly where to go to look. Let's watch some YouTube. Let's watch, they'll dig in. And you're gonna say, like, yeah, let's dig in. I'm curious too.
Yeah.
And one thing I think is really interesting is that the whole, at least from what my perspective is, kind of like the whole outlook in computer science is like, let's make mistakes. Let's figure out, what we did wrong and let's learn from that. And I think that's, you don't have to be a computer science expert in order to bring ideas about computer science to your kids. And I think that's, for me, it makes it like even more approachable.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that, Maggie, because again, sometimes like we're just intimidated by the word or the name, right? Like we don't have to be experts. This doesn't have to be like our driving passion. But hey, you know what? Our passion is kids. Our passion is advocacy for our multilingual students. So if we're saying that's my passion, I want to bring them opportunities. Here we go. I'm gonna figure it out as we go. I don't have to be the expert in computer science. I don't have to be the techie person. I don't have to be the sciencey person. Like I'm a person. So therefore, I am a techie person, or I am a science person.
Because and inquisitive, and we're all inquisitive, I think, and that is like such a component to computer science as well. To me, to bring it back to how I started, the whole problem solving, right? Being inquisitive, finding out how things work, is such an essential life skill. It really is a life skill. And that to me, that's why it's important. I'm not even a teacher by trade. But as I am learning even more about how students learn and computer science at the same time, these are both really, relatively new things for me. I'm more in the realm of managing programs and things like that. But it has changed my outlook on how how education is afforded to our students, and the things that we really, should concentrate on is these life skills that are going to help students become a much better human being, I think.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So, oh my goodness, it is already 7:33. I cannot believe how quickly this time has passed. But I want to give time and space. If there's anything else that y'all wanted to make sure that folks watching need to know or should know about this, I want to give time and space for that. If anything has come up that we didn't able to share yet.
I just want to thank you, Carly, for having us on. I want to thank Abril and, of course, my colleague, Maggie. But I want to speak directly to the people that are maybe tuning in. If you're a district superintendent, if you're an administrator at the district level, and you think that this is important to bring to your schools, and you want to dedicate time and your efforts to doing this, please reach out to us. Please reach out to me. My website is on, my email is on the IRC website. And we're really looking for districts that are really serving English learners, knowing that this is going to be a district-wide effort. So the net will catch all students, right? So, just reach out. Thank you.
Love that. And Rebecca's watching. Thanks for tuning in, Rebecca. She said, this is such an interesting conversation. I never really thought of computer science in this way. And I'm with you. I'm every time I get a chance to chat about this, I'm always like, oh man, it's just so much bigger and broader. It just encompasses so much. So for everybody who has been tuning in, I'm going to link it in the comments, just the where to find more information on the IRC website. There's so much there, but please keep following us on social media, because we will keep sharing out all of these, opportunities and professional learning spaces for you as you grow as an educator and leader and change agent, and as you support the students that you serve. But thank you all so much, and we'll catch you next week for another edition of Wind Down Wednesday. Thanks, everyone.